Yup. Yep. Yup. Mm-hmm. All right, enough of that. Seasons, greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to yet another spectacular, oh my god, just such a great episode of Christmas in July, the show where we go over and review a Christmas special every single day out of the month of July. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and it's the gift that keeps on driving Tiki insane. But, yeah. I'm pepped on Christmas cheer and ready to go. So, let's just jump right into our topic tonight. What do we have on the plate tonight? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was a guest. No, there's no guest. There's no guest. There's not going to be. Just so you guys know, Blue Dragon 5, who's been joining us for most of these, he's busy finishing up work on his documentary. I totally wish him the best of luck on that. So, until Thursday, it's just going to be you and me, and maybe, if we're lucky, I could maybe convince Adventure Blue Dude and Monkey to join us on one or two of them. You know, if I pull a few strings, kind of direct my threats in the right direction, you know, maybe they'll oblige, make them an offer they can't refuse. Because you don't mess with a man who's bipolar in a Santa hat. You just don't do that. Speaking of men who are somewhat emotionally incapacitated in Santa hats, let's get to tonight's episode. Tonight, we are going to be reviewing the eighth episode of King of the Hill's 5th season, the oft-requested Twas the Nut Before Christmas. Yeah, we're getting to King of the Hill. This is, like I said, I've heard from a couple people that they've wanted us to tackle this one, or that they don't want us to forget it, and no, by no means have I forgotten it. King of the Hill, it is a show that's right up there in my heart. I love it to death. It took me a while to really get into it, because I remember when I was a kid, I was just kind of like, I didn't really know what to make of it, really, because it was just like, it's one of those weird anomalies where really, if they would have made that show in live action, it would have seriously, like, what would the big difference be? I mean, it's just one of those weird animated shows that you can just completely tell in live action had you had the opportunity. Let's see, we reviewed As Told by Ginger on Nickelodeon, was also one of those shows we kind of feel like. But I don't know, it's interesting because with King of the Hill, it's definitely got, you know, it's a slice of culture. It's a slice of life, and that's what I like about it. It's, you know, like, these people, these characters are so distinct and so set in their ways, especially our main hero, Hank Hill, that, you know, you just kind of grow to love and grow to embrace these hometown traditions and the propane and the, you know, and the uptight PC nature of it all, and it's just a good time. It's just like King of the Hill is like a down home, you know, it's just a tribute to, you know, to the good old down south of America, and it's a loving tribute too, and I very much appreciate it. You know, lots of satire, definitely a lot of memorable characters, really kind of groundbreaking in just how much character development this thing had over the course of its run. And yeah, I mean, plenty of things to discuss with King of the Hill. Of course, you gotta love Hank Hill and his trademark, "I sell propane and propane accessories." I remember during high school, a big running gag amongst the high school children would be, "God damn it, Bobby." Now, I don't know if Hank Hill ever says that in the course of the show, just that bluntly, just like, "God damn it, Bobby." But for some reason, us high school kids, we would quote that incessantly. So there you go. You know, let's see. My favorite character has always been Boomhauer, because I just love a man with a little bit of mystery behind him, and Boomhauer is that guy. It's like, he's the guy that you want to know more about, but you're never really going to know more about. He's just, I don't know, you know, it's like all we have about Boomhauer is, you know, of course, he's got a way with women. He's essentially, he's essentially the Quagmire at the show, but a lot more classy than one Glenn Quagmire. And he's also, just like I said, very mysterious, very mumble-mouthed. You can hardly make out what he's saying. So, Boomhauer is definitely the character that I've always attached to. But I like them all. And so with this Christmas special, let's just get right down into it because I don't know, it's an interesting thing because with Christmas, the holidays in general have always had a dark undertone on this show because of oh God, it's been a long time since I've watched it. I believe it's Bill's wife either died or ran out on him around the holidays. I'm sorry, I should have done my proper research with that, but for some reason Bill is incredibly depressed around the holidays, and it has to do with his either deceased or just ex-wife. Terribly sorry that I don't remember which one it is. So so the episode basically starts where I kind of like this. I kind of like this little gag where Hank he's measuring what's going to be the tree table, and he's getting the exact measurements for how big Bobby's present can be to hide it under the tree. He's like, "All right, now we're looking at 2 by 8 by 15." Oh God, I just love that idea. Oh, good old Hank Hill and his practicality. Oh yeah. But Bill, Bill is sad. He's just being his old mopey self, and everyone knows why, because it's the holidays and whatnot, and he is lonely. I mean, what can you do? So Hank very nicely offers Bill to go run some errands with him, and I thought this was a really nice moment. He's like, we could go to the change machine and you can turn a 5 into a bunch of quarters and feel like you're in a Las Vegas slot. And that's what gets Bill's attention and gets him to go. I'm sorry, that's just like adorable. I love that. So anyways, while at the post office, there's this great little gag where Bill goes up to the guy behind the counter, and he's like, "Oh, I believe you guys have some of my mail." And the guy behind the counter is like, "Oh, well, okay, let me go back in the room and check." And then Hank, he's feeling guilty because he didn't really want to drag Bill to begin with, but so he goes back, to where the guy is, and he's like, "Look, about my friend, you're not going to find those letters." And the mail guy's like, "Yeah, I know, we just go into the back room, it's, for show." It's a very funny gag there. Let's see, but then the big sort of crux of this scene is that, alas, the post office has this really nice system in place. I actually think this is a really cute idea, and I don't know, I wish more Christmas specials would just employ, like, this kind of stuff, but the idea is that the post office has all these letters for Santa, that they've had delivered to the post office, that are obviously addressed to the North Pole and whatnot, and so the post office is basically looking for people to volunteer to go and, go through the lists, and if they can, buy some of the presents and deliver them to the kids. I'm sorry, I just love that idea. That's just like, it's so nice, and it really fits with the whole theme of the show and the theme of holiday specials in general. I wish we would have really kind of seen that emphasized a bit more with this episode, because we'll see that Bill kind of takes this idea to extremes. But for the time, I thought that was a very nice way to introduce, like, well, okay, that's a good thing for Bill to do to get him into the holidays. So meanwhile, we have Peggy wrapping presents, and she's like, "Where is my Scotch tape?" And then this is a really funny bit. Dale kind of creeps up from behind the couch, and he's like, "Did you check under my chin?" And of course, Dale's just got a whole Scotch tape beard. And then Hank's cracking up. He's like, "Oh, Peggy, you fall for Dale's beard of bearded tape every year. Ho, 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 ho. And Peggy's like, I do, and every year I'm a good sport about it. Just, I love that. It's just, it's so, it's just good neighborly fun on Christmas time. Oh, God. Okay, so let's see. Now, Bill, he's been wrapping presents, and he took them to the post office, but he's distraught because, according to the post office, they're the ones that have to mail the presents, and they're just going to send them from the North Pole. So what Bill was thinking was, being the Santa himself and delivering them. And instead, the post office is kind of getting in his way, being like, look, we're the ones you have to go through to deliver. So Bill, he ain't happy about that. He's going to take plans into his own hands. So, meanwhile, back at the Hill House, we see it's starting to snow. Oh my God. And, of course, Peggy, she's all paranoid about what the snow is. We see it's coming from a big elaborate snow machine outside of Bill's house. And he's literally made himself a big winter wonderland. There's a bunch of kids there. There's some sledding going on. It's a fun time. There's a bunch of lights. Really, Bill's outdone himself, and to his credit, it really does look great. And okay, so let's see. Bill, he's with this woman. I'm sorry, I should have got the woman's name, but I really missed it. But it's a woman who has the two kids, and she mentioned something about, I believe, her husband walking out on them, and how Christmas hasn't been the same for their family since that happened. And so it's like, you really get this nice feeling that Bill and this woman are connecting, and Hank, he's like, well, how about that? Bill, he's doing the right thing, and he might even get someone who wants to be in the same room as him. Well, ain't that a peach? I bet Jesus must be up there smiling. Okay, so let's see. So then, back at the Hill House, Hank's going through the preparations for the Christmas Day TV watching schedule, and he's very pleased. Oh, good, we got the Aloha Bowl, and then we have church, and right after is the Oahu Bowl. I'm like, wow, that's great. That's a bunch of football from Hawaii there, man. Oh, God. Okay, and then I think there's also a joke about Bobby not being able to watch something because it's TV 14, Bobby. Last time I checked, you were only 13 years old, so you cannot watch it. Yeah, I'm just gonna milk my Hank Hill impression this whole episode. I'm sorry. So, anyways, the Hills, pretty much everyone, is being caught up in a big traffic jam at Bill's house because it's craziness. It's real craziness, and it's gotten to the point where Dale is playing ballet. Hank's lawn has become, unbeknownst to Hank, has become the overflow parking area. Oh, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And okay, let's see. And then, we also see Bill, and he's kind of getting more intimate with the woman we met from earlier. She's saying that she wants to make him a chicken dinner, and it's nice. It's going really well. And then, let's see. Sorry, just let me catch my notes a little bit. Okay, so they're sitting in, or I'm sorry, Hank and Peggy are sitting in bed, and they're just kind of talking through the situation, and they can hear this giant, like, ho, 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 through their window, and, basically the gist of the conversation is just like, well, this is going to be an annoying couple of weeks, but gosh darn it, if Bill's happy, and if he's got someone who appreciates him, then it's the least we can do to put up with it. Oh, yeah, but then cut forward, I assume it's about a week or two. It's probably about New Year's. I don't know. It's not very specific how much time is cut, but we see that Bill, instead of taking down everything, he's putting more stuff up, and he's got himself a big old giant Santa Claus themed bounce house that he's installed. And oh boy, this is gonna cause some problems. So Bill Boomhauer, or I'm sorry, Hank Boomhauer and Dale kind of approach him. Uh, uh, and there's one crack made about like Bill, gosh darn it, I thought you realized that what the spirit of the holidays was all about. And Bill's like, well, I already sent Boomhauer a Christmas card. Now this cracks me up because this is implying that Boomhauer is having like his own little sort of emotional Christmas story on the side, and we're just not aware of it. You know, it's like there's like this big Christmas letter writing campaign to Boomhauer, and we're just not in on it. It's just kind of happening. That just tickled me. It's a very subtle joke, but but I kind of cracked up with that. And then of course Dale makes the comment, Hank hates love, don't you, Hank? Because, you know, what can be more filled with love than a child in a bounce house? Come on, how can you say no to that? I mean, come on, are you fucking Hitler? Really? You're gonna say no to a child in a bounce house? How dare you, Hank Hill? How dare you? For shame. Well, I'm sorry, Tiki. I mean, gosh, you know, it's just that it's not very appropriate. It's the end of the holidays and all. And then Bill, no, Hank, I'm sorry, but shut your mouth, because those kids were happy. Well, yeah, but it was the holidays, and the holidays were over, and I was all ready, and I needed to go back to selling propane and propane accessories. All right, I'm gonna cut off that little improv. Okay, so meanwhile, we have oh god, what the hell? Okay, I have something written down called Mustache Revolution, and I'm very sorry, but I have no idea what that means. I'm just totally blanking on it. So, if anyone can tell me what the hell in this episode has to do with a mustache and a revolution, I very much. Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry. It's. Oh God, now I feel dumb. It's all about Joseph. You know, it's just establishing Joseph is walking with Bobby and Cody, and Joseph's like all upset that his New Year resolution to grow a mustache did not come true, and Bobby's like, well, just because it doesn't grow over all of the lip doesn't mean it's a mustache. Oh god, that note really threw me off. Okay, so anyways, now we have the kind of tragic end to Bill's romantic arc this episode. The woman pulls up and she's got the plate of chicken in hand, and oh man, this is just you feel so bad for Bill in this moment. You really do, because Bill, you know, it's like he's just you can see Bill's just getting way more into the holiday thing, and it's obviously a little bit mentally unhealthy and disconcerting. You know, it's like he's up on the roof on a ladder hanging up lights, and it's like as soon as he sees the woman, he puts on the beard, and he comes down, and oh god, the beard's all ratty, and you know, the woman, she's seeing like all these, you know, all the stuff still there. There's this midget. There's this little person who is playing an elf, and he's like, I'm going to clock out for the day. And it's just a mess. And so essentially what happens is the woman, she wants to cut ties with Bill as soon as she can. And so she's just like, well, here, take the chicken, you know, and have a nice time. And then Bill, oh god, the stinger to this episode is Bill's like, well, are you going to bring the kids down to get their haircuts? Because remember, Bill is a military barber, and that's actually going to play into the end of the episode. And this woman's like, no, I like their hair long, just frantically driving out. So, that was a hard scene. That was really touching, I must say. That was that was pretty sad. So, anyways, Bill, he's in the laundromat. I think he might be washing his Santa his Santa costume, which he makes a big point to not take off. And enter Wally, the kid who's kind of going to be the problem for the rest of this episode. Wally, he's got a dryer full of wet blue jeans and no change, and no one wants to wear wet blue jeans. Come on, do you want to wear wet blue jeans? No, I didn't think so. So Bill, of course, being the nice sad sack that he is, gives Wally the money, and then, well, Bill, he's still wearing the Santa suit, you know, and it turns out that the teens, Wally included, are kind of crashing the bounce house. They've kind of just decided to make it their hangout pad. Bill comes in and he's like, well, what's going on, Wally? And, you know, Wally's just like, well, Bill, I told all my friends how cool you were, and don't you want to spread cheer to them too? And it's just like, oh God, okay, here we go, another episode where Bill Dotrine's going to get emotionally manipulated. So, yeah, so bad stuff's coming. Meanwhile, Hank Hill, oh boy, you know, the big man on the block, he steps on a beer can and he notes to himself very begrudgingly, Heineken. And, oh, God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it. Part of me just wishes Hank Hill would have finished that sentence and said, Heineken? Fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Okay, but I digress for all you David Lynch fans. Okay, so basically we see Luann in her one and only appearance in the episode, and she's at the pool. She's trying to get all these beer cans out of the pool, and basically being harassed by Wally. And she's like, stop trying to read my t-shirt. And then Hank, he comes right up to Wally, and he's like, I'm going to make a citizen's arrest. And essentially Wally just starts mocking Hank, like, Wally's just like, I do not think that you were a good boy. And then Hank's like, what is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? So we get into a very funny Hank Hill mock-off, and, Hank, he's pissed. He storms into Bill, and, let's see, did I miss anything? No, I'm sorry. After that scene, after Wally is essentially harassing Hank and mocking him and everything, we see a nice little scene with Bill and Wally together, and Wally gives Bill a belt sander for Christmas, and Bill, he's very touched by this. It's a nice gesture on Wally's behalf. It really is. And Bill, he's just like, well, maybe Wally's not such a bad kid after all. And but we can see that there is just not something right with this kid, and Bill is in fact getting manipulated. I mean, that is pretty much clear as day. So meanwhile, the next day, Dale and Boomhauer and Hank are staring at a big old tire track left in Hank's precious lawn. Dale makes the crack that you can build a Japanese rock garden through the tire tracks. And I know a guy who can get us some, and I know a Japanese guy who can get us some rocks. And also, coincidentally, hey guys, there's a lot of rocks over there. We can build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks. Okay, I'm sorry, enough with the Survivor. If you got that Survivor reference, I love you. That's all I have to say. Okay, but anyways, so it's really getting to the breaking point. The kids are stumbling around, Bobby, Connie, and Joseph, and they wander into the bounce house, and Wally sells Bobby a pretty decent sized beer. I think it's like a 42 ouncer or something like that of Alamo for $1. And so Bobby and Connie, they're laying in the bounce house, I assume a couple hours later or something. They're drunk off their minds. Bobby's just like, we should live in bad houses like this all the time. And then I think the funniest part of the scene is Joseph. He's staring up at the at the fake stars in the bounce house, and he's just like, "Look at all the stars, man. There's so many of them." And then Hank comes in, and oh boy, he's not happy because he bursts through the bounce house, and all he sees is Bobby, and Bobby's just like, "Hey, Dad, I like beer," and then proceeds to throw up. So, of course, Hank is horrified. And Hank goes right into Bill's house, and then there's a big confrontation. Hank spots the belt sander that Wally had given to Bill and claims that it is his, and even goes as far as to pull out the warranty on it, and is like, "See, Bill? Why is my warranty number the same one that's on this box sander?" And so, so Bill, he's pretty heartbroken. Poor guy. He's been manipulated so much, but, oh boy, he basically kicks Wally out, and then meanwhile, in the last few minutes of the special, we see Bobby's hungover, and I love this line from Peggy, who was like, "I almost wanted to let him sleep in until he told me that his hangover was punishment enough." And I was like, you go get to clean those windows, mister. Oh, good old Peggy Hill. Oh, God. And then, let's see. So, oh, God, in the alleyway, there's kind of this twisted joke from Dale where he's like, "All right, Bill, well," let's see, what does he say? He's like, basically it comes down to Bill impregnating Peggy, and it gets Hank incredibly pissed off. Yeah. But then the last big sting of the episode comes when Bill gets a phone call from Wally, runs over to the Hill house, says, "There's something wrong with Wally." And then Hank's like, "Well, let me guess, is he in jail?" And yep, of course that's what it is. So, Hank, he has to decide, he has to pull together for the greater good and get this poor old kid out of jail, but not for nothing. For at the end of the episode, we see that Wally has been recruited to the army, and Bill is giving him his good old-fashioned GI cut. And yeah, that's the end of the episode. It's basically kind of like a little father-son story going on there. Honestly, not really much to do with Christmas, come to think of it. I mean, it kind of has to do more with how you can let the spirit of Christmas and all the joy and blah, 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 blah. It's like almost sort of like a weird, hyper-realistic version of Christmas every day, and the fact that, like, yeah, if you do this shit too much, it's going to grate on people, and it's going to look fucking weird. And I think that's kind of the point of Bill's plight, it's like how he keeps wearing the Santa getup and everything like that, and oh man. I mean, it's a good episode, though. It's a solid King of the Hill episode. I wouldn't say it's really the best Christmas special, per se. I mean, there's certainly better ones out there, but it's definitely got some heart to it. It's definitely got some good laughs. I'd say it's kind of middle of the road from what we've been reviewing here on Christmas in July, but it's worth checking out for sure, especially if you're a fan of the King of the Hill clan as a whole already. So yeah, that's it. And this one, I don't really think it brought that much new to the table, but I don't know. We did kind of get a good little sort of surrogate father-son dynamic, and some very emotional payoff there, some good storytelling. So we here at Christmas in July, we believe that every one of these Christmas specials has a formula. And gosh darn it, through our process, we are going to find exactly what that perfect formula is by putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope. Next time on Christmas in July. But first, Don't you want to know what I'm going to be reviewing next time? Oh yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a big one. On July 19th, I will be reviewing this baby. This beautiful baby right here. Yeah. Darkwing Duck, It's a Wonderful Leaf. How freaking cool is this? I've got to admit, when I saw this thing in the video store, this right here was the primary inspiration for doing Christmas in July every single day. So thank you, Darkwing Duck. Thank you. So, in a way, this is kind of the one that started it all. So, yeah, going to be a pretty fun review. I'm a fan of Darkwing Duck. I haven't watched it recently, so I'm hoping to probably watch a couple episodes in addition to this one to really get me caught up with the characters and everything, but it should be a fun time. Definitely should be a fun time. Meantime, like I said, I'm going to be flying solo through some of these reviews. I'll definitely try and get Adventure Blue Dude and Monkey in on a couple of them. But Blue Dragon 5, he'll be back on Thursday, and then we'll be on, then we'll be on solid schedule again. So, in the meantime, my quest to review a Christmas special every night of July, it's not giving up. I'm not seizing fire. I'm going through, and I'm going crazy. So, oh boy. So, have a happy holiday, folks. Because, yeah, Christmas in July is definitely, it's definitely winding down. So, we hope you've been enjoying it. Fa la 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 la.